gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
24KG, our wrestling analyst, is obviously with us, as you heard a couple seconds ago. My friend, thank you for joining us, even though obviously you had to do it from your home today.
Yes, indeed. We're live in the home studio today. You know what I mean? We've got some roundabout things going on in the world of music. Speaking of Judgment Day's new song, not necessarily a fan. I agree with Sparky on that. And sensational on the Miami hat today, good sir. I see you. I see you.
He's been wearing the Miami hat for a while, especially since we can now see his face a little bit better.
It's just a lot more noticeable, man. Shout out to the crew. I see you, Bird. Those cameras are looking awesome.
I'm trying. We do what we can over here. We got to talk.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's start with Night of Champions, my friend, because we have to talk. I'm going to start with this because this was a focal point of what we talked about last week when it came to these matches. I'm going to come out and say it because I said it yesterday. That was probably the best match I have seen out of Jade Cargill since she became a wrestler at WWE, especially when it came to technicalities, the counters that she had for Asuka's move set and all that type of stuff. What say you? Did you enjoy the match at all? Or are you still lukewarm on what we've got?
Okay. All right. Because I was very critical last week.
Yes, you were.
I will be very honest. I will be very honest. With whom she was working with made her performance better, of course. With more experienced talent comes that. And I have to agree with you. It was the best presentation I've seen so far of Jade Cargill. And it eases off some of the woes I had on how they were booking her and how she's being absorbed by the audience as well. We're not going to talk about the Saudi crowd just yet, but let's just say generally at home from what we're seeing on TV here in America and on Netflix. It was actually pretty dang good, man.
See
what?
I was hoping I'd hear that from you.
It was actually okay when I look back at it and I say, dang. Okay, there's everything that I was asking for, like delivered in this pay-per-view that we just seen in Saudi Arabia that I was talking about last week. I seen the improvement. I seen more smoother delivery, the coordination, and at least she doesn't call out her moves out loud like John Cena.
I mean, well, that's on purpose. I think I was gonna get to that because
I'm sorry, but I love Cena. That's my boy, but. Overall, Jade Cargill's performance, I was actually impressed with, and I will eat that humble pie right now as I take a sip of this coffee.
Look at that. Look at that. I mean, the first step to manhood is always saying when you're wrong.
Well, we take accountability.
We take accountability.
I'll just stop right there.
Especially on this show, we take accountability. So I'm glad that you took accountability in this.
You know, WWE is going to start selling accountability over the counter now for people who really need it. So I'm just saying, I got mine first.
Well, you're humble. Is that what you're drinking in the cup? Is the
oh yeah.
Accountability?
Oh yeah. I have to be honest.
It's no longer Folgers.
Jade Cargill, she did her thing. So I look to see
Raquel,
growth.
The Raquel and Rhea match was fire.
Oh yeah. Oh man, come on now. A Riyadh street fight, whatever you want to call it, street fight. I think their last match, they made stipulations, not so intense as this last one, because the last time I believe they met was in NXT a few years ago before the main call-ups. And this one, I did a little research. It outshined that one. So, and they know each other very well. So that's very safe opponent-wise. They trust each other. They took a lot of liberty with certain spots with cracking the shell top of the announce table over the barricade. Hey, I haven't seen that done in WWE in a women's match, nonetheless, on a PLE. So kudos to them. And they're two big gals, just breaking each other's faces. And it was very enjoyable to watch. The crowd, they ate it up.
That I think was probably the highlight of the entire night was the Rhea and Raquel match. However, I got to get your thoughts on what I thought was the low point of the entire night. Carrie and Sammy.
Okay, so look. All these rumors that we've been having about Karrion Kross and everything going on right now with him not taking bumps and whatnot, they put that down. They put that all the way down.
But see, that's what I was going to ask. Do you think that those are real? Like, I think the internet likes to run with those as excuses. Like, why their guy's not getting pushed. Maybe there's something behind the scenes. I don't have a storyline for him. I think these writers just don't know how to use him properly. And honestly, I think it would be useful for them if they just pulled them in and said, okay, how do you see your story going?
Well,
because like you told us in the PLE, no one asked him about his story. No one asked him how he wins.
This is the thing. We haven't seen somebody like Karrion Kross get over organically with the audience since Zack Ryder. Look at all the internet behind the scene documentaries that he's doing.
And that's why we got the internet championship back.
Yeah. Keeping himself relevant on these Netflix commercials that we don't get to see, with interviews in front of the crowd, and taking every advantage that he can with the TV time that he's given to get over. And maybe there is some resentment from some of the writers, maybe some of the team that aren't seeing him play ball the way they would like him to. Well, like you just said, give him a storyline too. We can see that he can adapt to anything that you throw at him and make it watchable. So why not give the man a chance? He's doing great work.
That's what I'm saying. And honestly, the fan base is behind him. I think you could get really good championship runs out of him.
And nonetheless, let him just be a pure heel.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting over with such good work that it's going to be hard to keep him a heel, because people naturally are gravitating towards the character that he's personifying right now.
And honestly, I think they missed a massive opportunity with what they were building back when they first pulled him up.
I agree with you entirely. And Spark, if you want to get something in there, because I'm just going to end this on one thing that I really had a distasteful just result with watching the end of the match. Is there anything that you want to get in there? Because
we kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday. I was happy with the return of him, like keeping the story going with Raw last night. But I was excited to. I mean, I had to stop. I had to silent my phone because I know a couple buddies that will blow up my phone during the live event. But we had the Battle of the Bartenders. So no, I needed my phone. I had the house to myself Sunday morning, so I got to catch up, watch SmackDown, watch the PLE, and I was pumped to see this match, and it was going well. But just how it ended, it was just like, really? Like, that's what we
get. That's all it took. One haluva kick, and it's over. Okay. Now, note, finishers aren't really finishers anymore. They're kind of setups now. So just to see one was okay. If that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing. But we later on seen in the night, that's not what we were doing.
No. And again, that's what bugged me, is that we had a solid 15 minutes of Karrion Kross beating Sammy to a pulp just to end it with a real quick gunshot. And then, Karrion's down. He loses as if he has a glass jaw. And it's like, dude, that was the weakest you could have made him look.
Now, I get it, in defense of how it was written and how it's supposed to get over. All it takes is one mistake to lose a match. I get it, but Sammy didn't need the win. Karrion needed the win.
Yeah.
Kross needed that win because, hell, he's been getting drugged for the last 6 months on television.
Yeah.
I don't know when the last time he won a match was. So,
and not to jump, but I think you're right. I don't think Sammy needed the win. And just like it almost feels like they're keeping Sammy in this other story with Rollins and all them just as a backup, because they don't know how well that this writing is going to go with Karrion.
I don't know.
And they've got a lot of people hurt right now. So they need to kind of start thinking about protecting the roster and telling the guys to slow it down a little bit.
But before we go away from all this, I will say I was pumped. I started with the Judgment Day music is because I've been a big Judgment fan, the whole group, really.
Right. Yeah.
But seeing them getting the titles and seeing the reaction with the crowd, man, they were getting cheered on. And I think you're right, Burdick. I think it's almost time to. I know they've got the titles, but they're seeing it now. The Finn's got a backing.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, and
Chris, get it in.
The entire Judgment Day having belts again looks good.
Looks awesome.
Okay.
Honestly, I think Roxanne in there with Raquel looks a lot better than Liv did.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Okay.
And I don't think, especially after yesterday, I don't think you have to break them up anymore.
Nope.
Okay. You guys got yours in?
Hold on. Now,
Liv's gonna come back pissed.
Liv's coming back pissed, but Liv's coming back pissed and is now once again a main eventer.
Yep.
She is now once again going against Rhea and Io and all of these women
and
for
Raquel.
main titles, while Raquel and Roxy do their thing as a tag. I think that works a lot better for the group as a whole.
So what do you think, KG? I mean, does this help with the I know we've been talking about it for weeks about the women's tag team titles not, being a snore fest. I think, bringing in Roxanne, it definitely put some fire in it. Plus seeing them all, bump their belts together at the end of Raw or during Raw.
Come
was
on.
awesome.
Hey, check this
No.
out. I'm going to try to wrap this up as quick as possible so we can get to the next one. But I want to give you guys, I agree with everything you just said, but I'm going to say something that is an unpopular truth, not an opinion, that a lot of wrestling fans have to swallow right now. All right. Reason why the New Day lost the titles to the Judgment Day last night is because that whole situation fell apart with their heel run, and they weren't doing anything storyline wise with the titles besides flexing and talking and all that. Hey, great, you guys are Hall of Famers, cool. Judgment Day though, and this is where people might say, "Oh, KG, you crazy." Judgment Day is still one of the most popular factions in the company.
Yeah,
merch wise and on TV. They've got some of the best workers, not only in that group, in the entire company, on any roster show you put them on. The storyline has been going how many years now, from when it started with Edge, Adam Copeland, to bringing in Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley. Then they brought in Finn. This is about 3-4 years now, right? It's almost as long as the bloodline. So you would start to think somebody knows a little something about good talent in a faction on TV. Putting the straps back on them might make more monetary sense to someone like ourselves who know how to absorb and watch the product for what it is, versus someone who just scratches their head and say, well, why did that happen? Well, fan who scratches their head, let me tell you why that happened. Like you just said with Liv, and this whole thing with Roxanne slingshots this group into another chapter, so to speak, of just upper echelon talent coming through. So if they ever dissolve, bring in another member, that affiliation stamp, much like a Bullet Club, NWO, DX, will follow that person through their career, knowing that they are a made man or woman.
I was just about to bring that up. Does this make the Judgment Day essentially the WWE's version of the Bullet Club without having to buy the property of the Bullet Club?
Well, I didn't have to say it. You did.
Yeah. Well, that's essentially the only way that they can do it, because without buying the product itself, and unless you're going to pay out, what is it now, like 8 different variations of this team,
and all the copyrights that branch off from that on those 8, it's more than 8. It's about 20 something now.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous number that the Bullet Club has now branched into. So in order to buy the entire Bullet Club itself would probably be too much money. So why not just make your own?
Well, going off of your comments and using that as a transition, because we did have a couple listeners yesterday that were upset about the the bloodline still straggling it along with the Fatu and Solo match.
Look good though.
See, I was
agreed.
7-footer looked good,
but I knew it was time for Solo to get his title. So what do you think now with the younger bloodline, the new chapter of it, with now 4 members going on 5? What do you think about this?
I think all you got to do is add water, and you got more Fatus. They just like gremlins. They just pop up. Feed them after midnight. It gets even worse.
I will say,
you know what I mean.
Morning, they did release some rumors that Raw or actually SmackDown was pre-recorded for this Friday, obviously for the holiday, and they say that there was 2 wrestlers that made returns, and of course they show a big picture of Roman. So setting up the Roman Solo thing again.
I think we do have Survivor Series coming around the corner after Clash in Paris.
But hear me out, KG. Why are we doing it again?
Well, yes,
we got 3 years in a row, bruh. 3 years.
As Paul Heyman would say, what inning are we in? And with as many family members as they have in the industry that can be called up,
second inning, apparently.
Yeah, we're looking at a whole all-star team of a rehash storyline. Yeah, this this is gonna run deep. I eventually think it'll stop by the time we get to the Tonga twins, the female twins in the family. But then again, by that time, all the children might be of age and ready to go into NXT. This is a never-ending story. All we need is the dog to fly in and just scoop everybody up and take them to the ring. You know.
Now I can't unsee all of these Samoan wrestlers as Cybermen. I really can't. I'm all thinking about is Dragon Ball Z and those little green guys that Vegeta throws out of the ground.
Yeah, the power-ups are real, man. So with that match, we were expecting someone to make a debut, someone to come in, interfere, much like how it's always been when Roman was keeping his title.
Well, technically, we were all right, though, because we called Kaloa coming back from injury and Idoloa being in this match. So, both of them happened.
And you need somebody with a physically intimidating presence that really looks menacing next to or in front of Jacob Fatu. So, it makes sense. Of course, people are going to go, again, but it's not like we're not gonna watch. And
so
plus,
see Roman with Fatu.
I gotta no, I've not seen the SmackDown spoilers yet. You got to one up on me on that, but I have seen the footage before, not the footage, but the storyline thread before we went on air momentarily. Now, what I do want to say though, I mean, hats off and shout out to Solo Sikoa, man, for like just being the super, like his improvement in his character work is equal to Dom's growth in the wrestling ring.
100%.
Those two guys is like, man, we know the future of the business is in good hands when you're seeing character work be delivered on a consistent basis like that. Like last night with Dominic and AJ Styles, can't touch me. Ha! And he put the paper in his face and he's like, you hear him when he's walking off the background. MC Hammer, can't touch this. I'm like, this dude is
honestly though.
Yeah.
Between him and Solo, I have to agree with you. The biggest character development in the past year, because remember when we were doing this before we were on radio, and you can go back and watch these episodes on our YouTube channel. But when we were just a podcast, we were talking about Solo Sikoa and how much we were hoping the WWE would let him grow into the character he was on NXT. This funny, like brutish character that actually had a personality to him rather than the silent type that we saw for so long in the Bloodline. And honestly, I'm standing by it. He's the Samoan Godfather. That's and I don't mean
I like to call him like the Samoan Nino Brown with the suits and all that. But it's he really has the I feel like he's evolved the street king persona that they used to call him, you know, and now he's like a mini boss, like, you know, so or his own head of his own table. However, they're gonna splinter this down the way. I'm going to watch because it's a part of something that we grew attached to watching through the COVID era, the inception of the Bloodline with Jimmy, Jay, and Roman.
But see, I'm full circle back into this. This is why I don't want to see another War Games match, because we've seen him do 3 times now. Now,
if we see some type of it might not be a War Games match, but maybe a traditional Survivor Series elimination match, and that might be different, but still the same, just without 2 other rings on the side in the cage. Nonetheless, I feel like it's going to introduce someone else to the whole playing field of this Samoan family warfare that we're seeing play out on WWE.
I don't know, dude. This entire thing, you're probably right, because maybe it's Roman's brother, Lance, who's also been in development, jumps into this and is the third to help them. But I don't need to see Roman come back with another new bloodline, get the twins on board again with Jacob and whomever their 5th is, and get a 5-on-5 again between Roman's bloodline and Solo's bloodline.
Well, you know what's going to happen. And you know it's going to happen.
And that's the problem, though, is that, like, I get that we, you know, makes money, but God, dude, can we get
my hands are tied, bro.
Little different.
To make a quick turn the other way, but they did announce yesterday ahead of next weekend's Evolution is a battle royale match where the winner will get a title shot. And
early predictions right now, who do you guys think will win said battle royale? Because this is the second time it's happened, because they did have it at the first Evolution as well. Do we remember who won the first one?
Oh,
I'll look it up right now. But while you guys are contemplating and speaking,
they also set up the EO and Rhea match was how Raw was started. But I know this is going to be a bad choice of words, but the stupid now they've added Bailey into the Becky and Lyra.
Nia won the first one, by the way.
Okay.
There you go.
But now we're gonna get, I believe, another match because last night's was a draw, which was silly.
That actually, you know what? I wanted to bring that up too. When's the last time you saw a wrestling match in the WWE end in a draw?
Been a while, but it sets up a triple.
I don't think we were
threat,
born.
I don't think we were born either. I don't remember that happening in the Attitude Era.
I don't think that was part of the rules. Like we were watching. But
they're
yeah,
dragging
nonetheless,
that Lyra crap around.
I believe one of you guys said it last week. This was eventually going to happen.
Yeah.
This was bound to happen, of course, because Bayley, she had to sit on the bench for WrestleMania, I believe it was, with the whole situation and how Lyra lost the title. Hey, everybody had sour grapes about that, but now we're making wine and getting busy to it. So the match nonetheless was not disappointing. It was very intense. It could have shined in more spots, but you know what? Hey, I had no complaints about it. They were working hard.
It was better than the Lyra Becky one.
Yeah, I think Bayley actually works better with Lyra than Becky, but then again, we have seen Becky and Lyra too many times. So it's kind of become predictable as far as counter, move, match, outcome. It's a nice new little spin on things. So we'll see how it goes with the triple threat, and it should be a great watch.
My secret just early prediction for the Battle Royale would be I could lean on Stephanie Vicaire, but that one is a little bit too easy. I'm going to go with the what's her name, the chick that's now running Gable's group.
Oh,
Ivory Nile.
That would be awesome to see.
Ivory Nile would be great to see.
She's put in a lot of work.
She has done great things for the mid-card division of the women, of the women's division.
But there was another girl that I was going to ask you guys, the big blonde chick that I believe is in a different league, but is now, I believe it was TKO that she was in. We saw her at Rumble. We saw her.
Jordan Grace?
Rumble. Yes.
Jordan Grace.
And I know she's in NXT.
I've read a lot that they're trying to push her now into the main roster.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because
that would be a great debut for her as well.
With Stephanie and Julia.
So that would also, which another thing we didn't talk about is Julia finally got her title. But
right. But we can get into that at some point because.
But I think that could be maybe a change up for the Battle Royale.
I think most definitely.
I like your choice. I think Ivy Nile definitely deserves a push. I don't know, because my personal opinion, whoever wins this is somebody that you're gonna get a main title shot. So I think it's got to be somebody a little bit bigger than Ivy right now, probably.
Yeah,
I don't know, because Charlotte and Alexa they've definitely been dancing around this tag team idea between the two of them. So I don't know if we're gonna see Charlotte go after a main title for a while. But KG, do you have an early prediction?
It's either going to be a returning superstar. Maybe Bianca Belair is clear from her hand injury now, and we see her kind of start planting the seeds for a heel turn.
I can see that.
Or
especially if Jade ends up winning that belt off of Tiffy at SummerSlam.
Yeah. So that's a strong possibility, especially with the cash in of Naomi, maybe with some assistance or blockage from Bianca some way. That I see that kind of spiraling to that point. Or to state the obvious, Stephanie Vicaire. And God, I think my dark horse pick would hopefully, if I was just, randomly right, a debuting Jordan Grace. But I still think that's a long shot because she hasn't gotten a proper run in NXT yet. Yeah. And maybe if that's what's supposed to happen, I'm all for it because, man, she is definitely going to, surprise a lot of people. Maybe not. She's built like a tank. They call her the Juggernaut, not just for obvious reasons. She can go in the ring.
Well, the night before that is also the Saturday night main event, which they also threw in the Rollins
and LA Knight. That was the night match. That is a random pairing. I get it though, because obviously
I'm here for it.
Moments where Rollins' group is taking down people from the Money in the Bank match, including LA Knight. So I'm also here for it because we need to push for LA just as much as we need to push for Karrion Kross.
Most definitely.
I'm starting to get annoyed that we aren't getting that for LA Knight because we were talking about it a year ago that he would be in the main card title at least picture by now, and we haven't seen it yet. My early prediction for the Rumble situation, I'm going to say Liv. I'm going to say Liv comes back way earlier than people expect, and she does what she usually does in these Rumble situations, which is make it all the way to the end and win this time, and then we get a championship match between her and whomever wins between Rhea and Io. It just makes a lot of sense to me because they're going to get this back.
Before we get into the main events, I have to say I was so happy to see the Sheamus and Rusev match last night. It finally seemed like they finally got somebody that can step up with Sheamus and
Super banger.
wrestle pound for pound. That was one of the best matches I've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely, out of both of them. Now, we already know Sheamus can go, but I think it was, like you said, somebody that really seems like you don't know which way this is going to go. I mean, they beat the crap out of each other all night as far as the time that they got on TV, and it was very intense. I got to say, it was a throwback to those days when before they were aligned in the League of Nations. And it made you really look at some subtle changes. Instead of Rusev yelling Machka or whatever after or whatnot, it's the over thing now. He's still playing this redeemer type of character that he was in AEW, which I think was a great look for him, but without all the copyright issues. I hope to see more of this develop. And I don't think this is done. I think they're going to run this back about 2 or 3 times, maybe a best of 7 series. And then they end up on a tag team, much like how him and Cesaro did. You know what I mean? These things kind of happen with Sheamus.
Do you
He
think that they
brings the
somehow
best out of
pulled
people.
in all of Alpha Academy too, who have been absolutely just left out for
I'm
nothing?
I'm glad you mentioned Alpha Academy in the Chad Gable situation. We now see Ludwig Kaiser donning the mask of El
Gotta be
Grande
living, right?
America.
I've never seen
I was
nothing
like, how did this man just grow 2 feet?
And honestly,
And
What
walking
kind of
all the-
hormones is he on?
him being in the background of the attack last week makes a lot of sense now. You
Yeah,
have him
and
donning the mask of El Grande, but I think,
and he was lurking in the background of the interview as well. So
yes, he was.
hey, hats off to the writing staff. I think that's a little bit of Road Dogg right there, writing
Yes,
that.
it is.
I
That's
think
old
that's
school
Road Dogg's
wrestling
writing
right
right there.
Real quick before we let you go, I let you know this before, and I know I talked to you about this earlier, Sparky, but we want to do a little bit of something different with these wrestling segments as well. There's a show right now, I believe it's on A&E, that's called LFG that WWE does, which is their future greats and wrestlers that they are kind of showing a little early in the development of this entire thing through a competitive show. And
Yes,
this is now
indeed.
season 2 of that show. All 3 of us are fans of said show. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. What we're going to do is we're going to do our own draft of these WWE future stars. And whomever gets the closest of winning is going to somehow, we're going to make it happen that we're going to have fans of the show text in of who you guys believe team's going to win. If you are correct, we're going to hook you up with some sort of maybe a t-shirt or something. Like we'll find some sort of way to benefit the winner of all of this. But I
better
wanted
watch
to
it.
incorporate all, but you haven't watched that.
I haven't watched
yet?
season 2 yet.
Oh, well, I mean, it's the same roster as season 1 outside of a couple, including a former Dolphin, Trill London, who used to play for the Dolphins. I'm just throwing that out there.
Laces out.
So
Yeah.
I will let the 2 of you decide first before I choose mine. But KG, we'll start with you. Who would you decide right now is going to be the winners of season 2 of WWE's LFG?
Well, I would have to say my guy who I had my eye on season 1, who was missing the tooth.
You took him from me. I knew it. I
But
knew you were going to steal
but I can't remember his name. Oh God!
And you can't. No, don't tell him.
Yeah, nah, because
No, if you can't remember the guy,
he's got it in really
I'm
good.
sorry.
Hey, I just started watching the show. Unlike Sparky, I'm trying to keep up with everything. But let me tell you this: the obvious
Fine.
pick would be him, the obvious one, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go for the obvious one. I'm going to go for Evander Holyfield Jr.
Oh,
which might surprise people because Evander Holyfield has a couple sons. You know what I mean? Most of them have taken up some type of sports.
Elijah.
Elijah.
I think it's
Holyfield.
Elijah Holyfield.
That's what I was going to think.
So I expect some because you can build a lot off of him just as a person alone.
Yes,
and
you
if you
can.
want to take that away and just give him a character and see what he can do with that, I think that he might have the get up and go juice to make it happen because he's a great athlete.
Natural aggression too from his father, and it looks great. He reminds me a lot of Mr. T in A-Team.
I was about to say he looked like he'd tune somebody up.
It's right on the cusp. Who's your female, real quick?
I haven't looked at any of the female prospects yet that I would actually select nor remember the names of right now. But when we bring this back up.
You're messing up. All right. Next week, I'll let you pick your female.
Well, I'm taking Anthony. If he's going to take Holyfield, I'm going to take Anthony, and
Shiloh, that was his name. There we go. Hey, but that's not my pick. Yeah, but that's not my pick. I just had it hit me. Yeah,
my boy alone.
I got Holyfield.
I'll take Anthony Luke. I wanted Holyfield, but I would be happy with that. And also, I'll take Xena.
Okay, that's a good one. Bubba Ray's prodigy. That's
I love
from
that lady, dude.
Ukraine.
She grew on me.
She won me over.
I did not like her in the beginning.
She won me over in season 2. I
haven't seen enough.
Choose your female next week, Mr. KG, since we're already running out of time. I'm going to go with Shiloh Hill, as I said earlier, because I've been a big fan of Shiloh Hill during his football days playing for Stanford, as well as his social media stuff. I've already told you guys.
Oh, yeah, he's hilarious.
He's great when it comes to the dark web stuff, and he's very informative, too, if you're ever into that kind of thing. And
check your boot heels, people. Check your boot heels.
Absolutely. And from the female, I am going to go with Panina. I'm gonna go with P Nasty, the Samoan that is just she won me over in Nasty. That's what she calls herself, bro.
Hey, why do I feel like I'm about to see like another Fatu or something?
She is. That's why I'm taking it. I'm telling you right now, she won me over from episode 1 of last year. She was Booker T's girl last year, and she made it all the way to the finals. Probably should have been in the final.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to come down to those two. I think Shiloh and Panina are going to be your winners this year for season 2.
Well, folks, we'll be keeping an eye and an ear to LFG.
Well, enjoy your holiday weekend, KG. We'll talk to you next week.
Hey, you guys take care. Happy holidays. God bless America, and God bless you guys, man. We'll have plenty of more wrestling talk next week. And, sensational. Holla at you.
All right, brother. Thank you so much, and we will talk to you next week. We got to take a break and pay some bills. We have a ton of breaking news in the NBA right now.